What's up, Cowher Football? It's Coach Snead here, and this is a preemptive brief to what we're going to go over quickly during Cavalier time on Wednesday, April 17th. And so we want to do that in a way that I can actually present things to you guys then, answer any questions you have, but you already know what's going on, and so when you come to the meeting prepared and understanding what's going to be discussed. So with that, let's jump into the nit and gritty of what it takes to be ready for the Cowher football season 2024. All right, so this meeting was called because we have some players in the program who are really excited about the upcoming year, and they don't want to enjoy this season without all their friends there in the program and guys they've played with for a long time. And so what they wanted us to do is to come together and discuss grades, because they've been talking to you, and they're not certain that everybody who's in the program understands exactly what it looks like to be eligible and what it's going to take for us to be ready for the upcoming season. And so we're not here to ridicule or to get on anybody about where they're at now. We're here to talk about where we got to be so that we're in the place we need to be come June. Because, of course, the eligibility is going to be set at the end of June. So I want to first talk about the state of where we're at right now. And so where we're at right now, if we stopped today and we had to play football based upon the third quarter eligibility, we have 55 guys coming back, 35 would be eligible, and 20 would not. Now I want to kind of share with you guys, we'll probably get about 20, 25 8th graders coming in. There will be 9th graders. We're excited to be training them a little bit in the bridge program after school on Tuesday and Thursday nights. But moreover, let's talk about what that would look like, right? Because last year when we were in the playoffs, we had 46 guys on the varsity, and that helped us a great deal be successful in the field. And I know that you guys want to be successful in the field. And I can just be honest with you. I think that everybody's on a road to uncommon greatness, and I measure not where you're at, but that you're pointing in the right direction. And I'm going to have a good time, and our coaches are going to have a good time coaching whoever's out there ready to go. And so if only 35 players in the program come back next year that can play, we're going to coach them up, and we're going to have a great time, because I'm not going to waste a moment and not be able to give those guys who are showing up on August 15th the opportunity to be successful. So I'm going to give them everything I got. I want everybody to be with us, just as these teammates of yours do as well. But the reality is that we're in this situation. And last year, for our success, it was paramount that we had, 46 people in the varsity. And right now, we don't have 35. We don't have 46 in the program that are eligible. So that's a little concerning if that's your goal, right? If it's your goal is to be back in the playoffs, playing deep in the playoffs, and ultimately trying to make a state run, we're going to need more than 35 guys eligible. And that 46-man roster, of course, you guys know that 23 of them were varsity guys. 23 of them were seniors that are gone. We had like 9 or 10 juniors. And so we had a lot of sophomores and freshmen on the team, kind of in preparation for the fact that we would lose those seniors. And so, it's hard going out there and competing with a lot of young guys in a program and being successful. But we'll do what we have to do. And so that's where you're at. Right now, if we cut ties and went by the third quarter, this is what we would have, and this is what it would look like. 64 guys would be 64%, 35 players could suit up from this year's team and program, and 20 could not. And so let's go on to the next slide. So what does that look like? They're not eligible compared to the eligible by class. So if we look at the class of 2025, that's next year's senior group, we have 10 guys in that group. 6 are eligible, 4 are not. So 6 of them, good job. We've got some guys that are doing really well in that grade. In the class of 2026, I know that's kind of messed up right there. It's missing, but you know what I'm getting at there. 2026, our junior class, we're going to have 7 that were not eligible right now and 15 that are. And then, of course, the class of 2027, this is the group of freshmen this year that are going to be sophomores. There are 9 who are not eligible and 23 that are, based upon today. And that's what it looks like based upon class. And certainly I hope that you guys all know where you stand in that, whether you're on one side or the other. We'll talk about what eligibility looks like so that way you can get an understanding of where you're at and kind of look at it from that perspective. This next slide talks about players ineligible participation in other activities. And I break this up because, again, nothing that we do is mandatory. And I certainly don't want anybody to come and do anything they don't want to do. We certainly want you guys to own it. And, we've had a great spring and winter training session. There's plenty of guys out there playing sports, and that's exciting to see. And, I think that the guys that are getting in the weight room with us are enjoying themselves. The guys who participate in the malt sale actually had a good time. Obviously, you heard the names that were mentioned in the previous video that I shared, thanking those who helped us out during the malt sale to make that incredible investment in our program. But when I take the 20 guys who aren't eligible, I kind of want to show you guys what they are or aren't doing. And maybe that could attribute to them not being where they need to be. Because if you're not in a program playing another sport or lifting weights or doing things that come in a malt sale, then there might be a common theme there. Maybe you're distracted, maybe you got other things in your life. We are essentially the same person as the 5 top people we spend most of our time with. And so if you're running around with people out there who got worse grades than you, it might make you feel better about yourself, but it's not going to help you get better grades. If you're running around with people out there making some poor decisions behaviorally, you're probably going to make poor decisions behaviorally yourself. Now, on the flip side, you're running around someone who's serious about getting in the weight room, guess what? You'll probably be in the weight room too. You're hanging out with somebody who's doing well in school and they're going to, sessions during Cavalier time to get extra help, you're probably going to go there and get extra help too. And so these are things you got to think about. And so when we have as many guys on the team as possible who generally are doing the extra things to care about next year's season, you'll probably do the extra things to care about next year's season too. And this would help us ultimately reach that ultimate goal of winning state championship if that's what you want to do. And certainly it would help us play to the best level that we possibly can. But when you look at this, 20 guys who are ineligible out of the 55, not one of them is playing a sport. All right? We have 20 guys who are not eligible. Not one of them is over 3 days in the weight room. Only two guys had 3 or less days in the weight room. The rest of them, 0. And then the malt sale. Out of those 20 guys who are not eligible, 18 of them didn't participate, even RSVP to participate in the malt sale. And then major behavior issues. Out of those 20 guys, 5 of them are major behavior issues. Being a disruption to school, not conducting themselves behaviorally the way we want Cavaliers to do so. It's not setting the example, setting the tone to our culture and our community, owning the school in a positive way. So it's just things to think about. Is there a correlation? I don't know. But you can ask yourself about that. And you can also, I could go back and look at the data and say, hey, these are the 35 guys who are. Maybe I need to present another video on that, but we have 35 guys who are. And I know that 35 of those guys who are eligible, almost 95% of them are playing a sport and or lifting weights. All right. Many of them were part of the malt sale. All right. Many of them are not doing things in the classroom or in the hallways or in our community that could bring a bad light or negativity to our program or our school. And so, I don't know, maybe there's a correlation there. Looking at the next slide, all right, number of players per team. And so if we were to chop this up right now and we went just by the number of juniors and seniors we have next year, that would put 21 guys on the blue team and it'll be 14 guys on the gold team. There's 11 guys out there that could be with the blue team, but right now they're not eligible. That would take us to 33 or 32. And then there's 9 guys who are on the red that could be eligible. And basically these are freshmen, right? That would bring the team to 23 on the gold. So you got to see what's going to happen is if we only have those 21 guys from the blue team ready to go, eligible, well, we got to fill out a roster. It could mean these 14 guys who may not be quite ready have to come up. And that's how programs kind of become fractured. Still going to have an enjoyable experience, but for the guys who are all in and the guys who got great grades, it's going to be a challenge for them to reach maybe those goals that they want to reach of winning a regional championship and a state championship or playing to a high level. I mean, let's be honest. I'm a linebacker and I want to be successful, but if I don't have a guy in front of me, maybe the guy's not eligible right now, who can hold the point and play a great 3 technique and occupy blockers and protect that linebacker, does that linebacker have a successful year? No. So it's not an individual sport, but we do need each other. And if I want those personal accolades to be successful, then I need that guy in front of me to be there. And conversely, you need that guy at linebacker coming downhill as fast as possible to force that double team to come off, and that gives you a chance to tackle somebody in the backfield, defensive tackle. And we can speak about that in every position. So just think about those things as we move forward. I want to talk about exactly what it looks like in the fourth quarter to be eligible and where you may not be eligible right now. And so you're looking at this slide here, and this is 5 examples of report cards that you could get in the fourth quarter. Now, I know that math covers geometry, algebra 1, algebra 2, advanced math, all these different maths and sciences, same thing. You can see it. This is just a basic 7-period schedule of classes. Of course, lunch being 4th period here. So you got to replace math with whatever class you have and understand and think about what we're doing here. And so I want to go through example 1. Example 1 here, you're looking at a kid who got a 78 math, 84 in science, 72 in art, 90 in government, 75 in English, technology got 80, and then healthy got 86. You take those 7 classes and add them together, divide them by 7, and you get 80.71. More than eligible. Good to go. That's a report card that we can bank home about. I'd like it to be higher, because of course getting higher grades, getting as many B's and A's as possible is going to be easier for us to sell you to colleges. But nevertheless, that's more than necessary to be eligible. You look at example 2. All right, example 2, yeah, math grade is 68, and we got a health grade of 65, and everything else is B's and C's, no A's. Brings it down to a 72.57, but still eligible. The common theme here is a 70 or above and no failures, so you're eligible. Look at example 3. Believe it or not, it's in gold, but really you're still eligible. You have that 50%, which kind of is a sticking point. Doesn't look quite good on a report card when I show it to colleges, but that doesn't necessarily eliminate you from being eligible to play sport, because if you still have a 70%, which is taking all these 7 classes, add them together, divide by 7, and you have 70% or better, you're still eligible to play with 1 E. Now we come over here. This person here, in example 4, has a 74%, but they're not eligible because they have 2 failures. They could have 3 failures. Once you get past 1 failure, you cannot be eligible. So this person is 74%. They can have a 90% with 2 failures, and they're not eligible. So again, fourth quarter, on that date, where the report cards come out in June, we want to make sure that we don't have any failures and we have at least a 70%. And again, the goal of 80% would be ideal. You look down here now, for example 5, there are no failures. There is no failing grades. But because the average of his grades are so low, it's a 69.43. That doesn't get rounded up. It's not a 70. 69.99 is not a 70. And so this person is not eligible either. And again, I look at it and I say, if he got into 65 and a 64 up to a 70, he might have been eligible. Heck, I would like him up to 80s. But that's what it looks like, and you need to study this and understand this as you go into the last quarter of your final year here as a junior, sophomore, or freshman, and try to attack the grades so that when you get the grades to where you need to be, so you can be eligible this summer. Because, listen to me, you cannot go to summer school to be eligible. That's it. It's it. And so, that would mean that the only way you would be eligible is if you come out not eligible and you practice every day. You don't miss a practice. You're a good teammate, and you'd have to be a practice player. And we're not going to be able to give you a whole lot of time on the field during games. Of course, you can't play any games, not until week 5. So you missed the first 4 games, maybe 5 games. I haven't looked at the schedule if you're not eligible. And that's if we keep you, And so there's a lot of things that go into that. And so I want you to think about that. Know that right now, do the hard thing, right? Apply yourself. Go see Ms. Valentine if you need extra help. Reach out to me if you need extra help. Go see your teachers. If this is important to you, if football is important to you, then this will be important to you. And so let's make it happen, right? Let's make it happen. And so the last thing I want to get into is a schedule of the summer. And I'm going to share this on the Band app. And there's some other dates I've added to the new calendar that I just launched. It's a little bit different than this only because it has 3 important dates on it. Things that I want you to consider and understand. Yes, this has when we should be lifting, when the summer training program starts, when we have 77 tournaments, when a senior bonding trip is, when equipment issue is, when Shepherd Camp is. All those things are on there, but it also adds in May 8th. Listen to me, May 8th is when interims are going to be available. And so I would definitely have the interims there as a asterisk. I want to be here on May 8th, and I would make it a goal. I want to have all my grades as close to an 80 as possible, if not better. Make it a goal. And then Although the quarter doesn't quite end until the last day of school, so those teachers give you time to bring things in, I'm putting June 12th as the dead day in which we want to have the grades as high as possible. And that means that I don't want to be in a situation where I'm thinking about, man, am I going to be able to play? And I have to wait to see my report card come out after school ends to figure out whether I'm eligible or not. Don't do that. So let's focus in on those days. The last date that I want you guys to be aware of and thinking about is in August. And this is important because this is something you can start preparing for right now. And that is August 4th and August 5th is the days in which I want us to have a goal of making sure our school accounts are updated. If you're a returning player, you already know what this looks like. This means that you have to have a current physical. And if your physical is going to be good up until December, because you do your physical in December, awesome. But you have to go back into our school, make sure all the information you have in there is current and up to date, and resubmit that physical that's still good to go. It's not a hard task to do, but it's one thing of paperwork that we want off our table because you will not be able to practice with us unless that stuff is done. And so we're making August 4th and 5th, those 2 dates, the dates on which we want to have a major crunch and get our school information done. So those are the 3 major days during the summer that we want to make sure you guys are focusing on. I'm going to send this video out to each one of you guys, accompanied with a quiz, and I want you to go back and watch this video and be able to answer the quiz. Please take the time to take in all the information here. I do not care if you have straight A's or not. It's important that you understand this too. That way you can be your brother's keeper and support and encourage your teammates while they get their grades where they need to be. I love you guys. I can't wait to see you soon. I'm out. Boom.